Welcome to this explainer. If you're the kind of person who's always trying to figure out the invisible forces shaping our daily lives, well, you're absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to explore this totally fascinating concept about luck, human nature, and the universe. We're going to unpack exactly why chasing a lottery ticket after having a wonderfully lucky dream might actually be the worst possible thing you can do for your personal fortune. I know, it sounds super counterintuitive, right? But stick with me, because by the time we finish, it's going to make perfect logical sense.
So let's kick things off with Section 1, Good Dreams and the Temptation of the Lottery.
Let's dive right in. We've all been there, right? You wake up from a dream that felt so incredibly real, so auspicious, that you just know your life is about to change forever. So just imagine this for a second. What if a massive black pig, which, by the way, in a lot of cultures, and especially in our source material, is like the ultimate, classic symbol of incoming wealth. What if that pig literally jumped right into your arms while you slept? What's the very first thing you would do when you woke up? Just, hold that thought.
Because our source material actually shares this amazing, highly specific anecdote that starts exactly like that. The dreamer recounts how this black pig just kept nudging her leg, and then suddenly the dream shifts, and she sees her living room just absolutely covered in scattered bundles of cash. Naturally, right there inside the dream, her brain goes into overdrive. She's thinking to herself, okay, if this goes well, a ton of money is coming. I am never going to have to worry about anything ever again. When she wakes up, she tells her sister-in-law over breakfast, and the sister-in-law's immediate reaction is, oh my gosh, you need to go buy a lottery ticket right now. Now, the dreamer remembered hearing past advice that winning the lotto isn't inherently a bad thing, as long as you manage it well, setting aside 3 years of living expenses and locking the rest away for society. So fully convinced she had the perfect mindset, she went right out and bought that ticket.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 2, the 2 hidden meanings of dreams.
Okay, this is where the source completely flips the script on what a lucky dream actually is. A good dream? It is not a guaranteed deposit into your bank account. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a highly structured, two-part spiritual mechanism. Step 1 is the notification. The universe, or the gods, are basically giving you a spiritual sneak peek, letting you know a blessing is headed your way. But Step 2 is the absolutely crucial part. It's the test. Once they hit send on that notification, the universe kind of just sits back and watches you. They are conducting a real-time character check to see exactly how you're going to react to the promise of good fortune.
And that brings us to Section 3, why you literally shouldn't buy lotteries.
So why is rushing out to buy a scratch-off a massive spiritual trap? Let's look at the two paths here. On side A, we have the greedy reaction. You have the dream, you assume it means instant cash, and you buy the lottery ticket. By doing this, you are essentially treating the universe's gift like a cheap transaction. And the result? The gods cancel the blessing. You fail the test. No way around it. But look at side B, the humble reaction. You wake up, you feel that joy, you accept the positive energy with total humility, and you just go about your day. By not trying to force the money into your hands, you actually pass the test. And that unlocks an even larger, much more profound blessing.
The biggest takeaway here is incredibly powerful. The gods absolutely intended to give you something wonderful, maybe a new opportunity, some vital knowledge, or even wealth. But the literal second you feel that spike of entitlement and greed, the moment you try to forcefully cash in on the dream through a lottery ticket, it actively changes the minds of the gods. They look at your greed and decide, nope, this person isn't ready for a true blessing. And poof, they revoke the intended gift.
All right, moving right along to Section 4, the mass that fills empty jars.
To really grasp this, let's look at a second dream from the source material. It uses two critical abstract concepts that completely shift how you view your own potential. The first concept is the jar. Think of a dream as simply an empty jar. It is a vessel of potential that the universe hands you, nothing more. The second concept is mass or quality. This represents the spiritual, intellectual, and emotional energy that you personally bring to the table to fill up that vessel.
Let me paint a picture for you with another dream from the source. In this one, a woman is gifted this stunning, high-quality teacup by a famous movie director. In the dream, she feels incredibly honored. She's thinking, wow, this is meant for a lead actress, but he's giving it to me. She wraps it up super carefully, just feeling pure, unadulterated joy. Notice what she didn't do? She didn't wake up and try to monetize the teacup. She filled that jar with high-quality mass, gratitude, humility, and joy. See, if you fill your jar with cheap material greed, it functionally stays empty.
But filling it with high-quality spiritual mass, that is what unlocks profound life blessings. The dream just gives you the cup. It is 100% up to you to decide what to pour into it.
But hey, life isn't all teacups and lucky pigs, right? That brings us to section 5, our attitude toward bad dreams.
So, what actually happens when the universe sends you a terrifying nightmare? Well, first off, nightmares are not punishments. They are advance warnings. The universe is basically giving you a heads up that your past actions, or maybe some blind spots, are leading you straight toward a negative consequence. So what's your job here? Acknowledge it. Admit that, hey, you haven't been living perfectly. Ask the universe for some guidance, and most importantly, show deep humility. When you do this, the universe sees that you've learned the lesson mentally, and they will dramatically reduce the actual real-world hardship you have to face.
But, and this is a really big but, if you brush off a bad dream as just, something you ate, or you totally ignore the spiritual warning, you are going to face the harsh reality head on. The source puts it very bluntly. If you lack the humility to listen to the warning, the universe essentially decides that you must be beaten to understand. You'll have to experience the pain directly because you flat out refuse to learn it spiritually.
This, by the way, is exactly why people culturally seek out intermediaries. Whether it's a monk, a pastor, or a fortune teller, these figures act almost like your spiritual defense attorneys. When you have a terrible dream, they help you process that warning. They guide you on how to basically plead your case to the universe, asking for a little leniency. Think of it like a courtroom. Just like how respectfully addressing a judge can lighten your physical sentence, how you humbly address the universe can absolutely lighten your spiritual sentence.
Okay, final section, part 6, real miracles created by gratitude.
This all builds to our ultimate lesson on how we interact with the unknown to actively create positive momentum in our lives. It's basically a compounding sequence. Step 1. You receive the natural sign, a great dream, an unexpected stroke of luck. Step 2. Instead of rushing to manipulate it, you process it with unattached gratitude. You just say, "Thank you, I don't know what this means yet, but I accept it." Step 3. Because you passed that character test, the universe grants you a secondary, much larger blessing. And finally, step 4. This unlocks a compounding chain of positive events, not just for you, but for your family and your whole environment. You are creating real miracles through the simple act of letting go of greed.
I really want to leave you with this one profound quote directly from our source. Nature's gifts change depending on how we unravel our dreams. A dream is never a fixed destiny, guys. It is always an interactive conversation with the universe. Your attitude is what determines the final outcome. So, the next time the universe taps you on the shoulder and sends a sign your way, what kind of energy are you going to use to answer it? Will you reach for a lottery ticket, or will you respond with the kind of gratitude that unlocks the real miracles? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I truly hope this gives you a completely fresh perspective on the hidden mechanics of your own potential.